Collective energy reading. Please only take what resonates. Always leave the rest for the best. Don't stress. Clearing out the energy, because you could be just riding the rhythm, clearing, looking at the adjectives and looking at it from different perspectives and looking at that, using your intuitive thought and looking at your emotions to the way how you're reacting to certain feelings, what you was holding on, and then you have to look at that willpower and that strength to go, because it's about a passion. And what passion and reaction was you putting out to that passion? Take it all as it resonates. We're going to clear the energy on 1, 2, 3. Someone's having a awakening. Oh, they're having that click in their neck back, and that's that solitude. That's when you have to sit back and go into hermit and you look at spiritual wisdom and you're in your mind, you're in your thoughts. Solitude is with you, and that's when your solidarity, and you have to look, because that's when you have introspection, when you're isolated, and you have to look, because that's that oneness within you. You gain high wisdom, communication, seek knowledge, like from a different perspective, philosophical, educational, social, political, astrological, and that's when you start looking, because in the Bible, in that basic book of learning, information and knowledge for life's lessons to be able to evolve, that's when you have to go back to the beginning as a word for that prosperity. In the beginning was that prosperity for those seeds that you planted. It was growing. You have to look back and then compass the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, gain your perspective, look at it from a different moral compass. Somebody's now looking back because they're crying over you, because you called it a day. You had news for you, this comic. You was friends and family, they could be glad they're through. Hip hip hooray, because they must have been marrying for money too. Now they're feeling haunted because they're in that Five of Swords, and that's appearance, and that's apprentice of swords. So they could be appearing towards you, this apprentice of swords. This could be a fire sign, air sign. They may want to be able to come quick, rush, giving you some clarity, high level inspection. They're trying to get that grounded. They may be seeing how you're grounded. You're speaking that truth about love, about seeds when you're growing, looking about what seeds you're growing. Take it all as it resonates. Don't know why I've got these in my hand first, but P could be significant. H, pa. So good for hearing about a pa. They could be looking at their pH now, that level, that skill, because who they was giving that extra energy to. That's that balance. They could have been a childlike spirit, socialising, parting with people, values. They wasn't valuing their self. They was looking now because of that stability and pleasures and how you looking. You was nurturing, you was caring, you was having compassion. Certain people was being stubborn, there was energetic, there was wise. These family members and friends, and now they're looking about the values of who was a wise one, who was growing, who was slowing, who was stable, who was practical, and who was doing it with beauty and a pleasure and for essential, like lust and greed. That's when you have to go back, because you have to connect to your home, your family, what you possess, those thoughts, those feelings, and what you was creating and who you was creating with to be able to obtain that money. Take it all as it resonates. People have got a social awareness of you. You was a wise one. You connected to the spiritual guides. You went high. You could see, you pack that knowledge, that wisdom. You looked at the capacity of the highness, of the loyalty, of the awareness. Ra, you had that capacity, that high awareness of Ra, that spirit was inside of you. That was you connecting, that wise one, connecting to the spiritual guides, philosophical knowledge, higher wisdom. B, you knew their ABCs. You went back. C, you had to look at these cats that was trying to catfish you, that was moving like one back and acting in certain ways. You could have reacted towards them. Take it all as it resonates. Herb. They could have been high on herbs. You could be high on herbs. They could be looking and connecting to their heart and seeing those emotions now. Take this all as it resonates. So you can get 4 more. Ooh. In this hour, they could see your power in this hour. They being acting like a fool. Could have been acting like a fool. F just came out. Like a foe. They could have been acting like a foe towards you. D. And now they're feeling effed up. Feeling effed up. And now they'll be all effed up because where they was acting, reacting, because of those habits. S. Take that as it resonates. Those letters could be significant to you because they're being ready now to react. You see now people was reacting and acting, and every action has a reaction towards they're getting that knowledge in solitude. So they're in solitude, acting and reacting in this hour because they're gaining wisdom, high clarity. That's that light shining, illuminating the darkness because that's that truth to be told. They maybe want to be able to speak this truth towards you because they're gaining high clarity. They could be getting steadfast and organized. And Leo, they can see you brave, speaking, gaining wisdom, introspection. They've got higher awareness of who you were. They're having that sudden change now because they can see you're moving towards your ambitions. You also need to transform, change. Now they may be seeking knowledge, they're gaining introspection, they're in that hierophant. They were spiritually blocked, spiritually blind, was telling lies, wasn't communicating, all because it was being controlling, like stubborn. They can see you spoke how people are stubborn, controlling. Listen to the spiritual guys. Keep on gaining things because you're detached from feelings and emotions and you're not connected, you're not speaking that truth. When you're going to know when the Most High God gets you, He's going to give you that spiritual lick. You're going to have to look at what you was fearing, let go of all those habits, look at that ego, your pride, your self-esteem, transform, change because of choices. When you're making certain choices, it's going to F you up, especially when you're thinking that you're moving forward or you're lying about certain people. When you're out and social awareness about a property and your home and your mindset, your heart, the way how you're feeling, not connecting to be able to transform. Look at that action to be able to regenerate yourself. Take this all as it resonates because now they can see, oh, I was on that karmic cycle. I was doing it because of fear. I lack fear. Now I'm gaining introspection, higher clarity in regards to what I was because I was stuck dominating over resources, not transforming, not being idealistic too, because they didn't have that balance. They was too busy. They was running for material aspects. Now they're looking at the love, the choices that they made with the partners and the relationships. They're now looking, which door do I go through? Because it's that movement of choices, decisions. You could be making this decision, a choice, because you're needing that balance to transform, change, high clarity, awareness. Look at yourself, your attitude, your approach towards life. Are you in a childlike spirit? Are you being stubborn, brave? Or do you have to protect yourself from these divine feminines, masculines? Take it all as it resonates. A fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Scorpio, Taurus. You could be finding yourself, putting yourself in ways, because in this hour, you have to protect yourself, gain higher clarity about friends, be discerning to certain spirits. Although she's leaving, she will never be gone. I know I can't feel her shoes left behind. So somebody was in a childlike spirit, thought they was being stubborn and controlling. They was vain and thought, oh, I know I can't feel that person's shoes. But they was trying to take leadership and they didn't use their wisdom. Or because they was in their ego. Seeing the world from a different point of view. So you wasn't able to see the world from a different point of view because you got high clarity. You went towards your dreams. You was empowered to change. You looked at the illusions because that was the habits. You cleansed your energy from certain people. Property deeds up for bail. So they could be seeing now their stress in their mind and thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to gain this? They're trying to get that structures. They be staying grounded because of this property. They could be up for bail, so certain seeking information about this assets. That could be certain assets like property deeds, like inheritances. You're going to see about these things that was in secret. They're trying to balance that, control that. They may be thinking, oh my gosh, it's a relationship money. They need to find that money because it's maybe material. He did the right thing. So you're going to say he did the right thing to control over that. Certain people was dominant over that resources. They could have had to be brave and obtain that power. Certain times be stubborn. Maybe this is the last chance to set shit right. So this is the last chance to set it right. Get strong, be courageous, protective, brave. That's using that inner power, providing. They could be persistent now, passionate to come towards you. Take this all as it resonates because they can see you're that wise one. That throat chakra is activating. They're seeing the world from a different perspective. That was you having boundaries and able to be able to grow because that was enabling you to have that discernment, communicate it because it was willpower, understanding your truth because that was that wait for the important information. So you could be sat there waiting for important information. So you have to protect yourself because that was from the divine, steadfast, organized, cautious, let go, end karmic cycles. So you was able to listen to that spirit within inside of you, transform, cleanse, release, seeing the actions that people took. You had to protect yourself and ground yourself because you knew about these snakes that was blocking you. Because that arrow that was leading, because it was your shield, it was surrounding yourself with that protective energy. You were surrounded with protective energy because you was like that shaman. You knew that duality, good from bad. You was able to transform. You let go of obsessions because that was a part of your transformative skills. That was you having that duality, like one foot in, one foot out, but you knew how to be able to do it because that was you looking to be able to regenerate yourself. And you seen certain people's in that obsessions, they was blocked because illusions, they didn't have that strength. You had that persistence to keep on going. You was brave. You seen certain people was driven through jealousy. They was vindictive, clinging on, hiding. And you had to trust in that higher force because you had to regenerate yourself. Now they're trying to not fully regenerated. That's that fire guardian. You had to ignite that passion. That was that willpower, that strength, a fire sign. That was you going forward, having that knowledge, listening to the spirits within inside of you, listening to your heart, continuously keep on moving, having your compass to be able to lead you with that way. You had your shield of protection, guardian angels, guided, protected, supported, and assisted you. You had that arrow because that was giving you that direction to go towards the north. There was no dwarfs in the north. And that was gaining the wisdom along the way, along the path. That was you being discerning to certain karmic cycles, looking at duality, the left to the right side of the brain, having that higher awareness to continuously keep on moving with love. That was you listening. Every time you heard, you seen every chime was chiming. It was giving you that ringing. It was a compass to enabling you. You had your feathers and you wasn't able to rock those pretty feathers because you was an oracle. That was you connecting that island, that cycle, that emotion, using your intuitions, and you was able to communicate, and that was that willpower with the divine. When you, human, you shed emotional tears. So you was human, you shed emotional tears, you cleansed, released, let go of conflict, of stress. You got that life force, you looked at it from a different perspective because that's when you was in hermit. You just stepped into yourself, you looked at the traditions, you went back deep to the ancestors. What did they do? You had to be brave, communicate, love yourself as well as love people, be practical, depend on yourself. Are you going to be reliable, inspire, be enthusiastic? Divine feminine, you are practical. Your life ain't just a job. So you know you was practical, your life wasn't just a job. You kept on moving forward and you gave to yourself. You looked and connected. You smelt the energy. You got connected with the earth. You cleansed from detoxified. Compass direct to you. She and Shell sees those moments. It's whispering. The ring, that brand, it's an eternal bond. It's interconnected, and that was that highness. So you seen, you had that compass. You had that interconnected. You had to move in that moment. It was whispering towards you. You rocked those pretty feathers, that left and that right side. I can't let them give up. No, keep moving with love on their last chance of happiness. So just so I can get this business deal. So they couldn't give up on that last chance of happiness. So they was being creative, thinking they was being brave, trying to be able to control the situation, but they was being courageous. They now got to seek this information because really it was detached, they wasn't organised, and now they're being cautious because they was doing it because of fear, and they was having extra energies in a childlike spirit, having aggression, causing conflict and arguments. They could be having arguments now within this community. People could be seeing them having stress and a lot of conflict because that's why they're crying. If you don't know what to do, that's when you have to look, you know, and the higher perspective gives you that inspiration about certain illusions. They're seeing about these illusions. They thought they was being brave, and certain people's, you know, when you institutionalize with your mind and certain people aren't speaking that truth and that clarity. That's like when you're in a occultist and you go to church with people and like the institutionalized, oh no, it don't go like that. No, because you're not speaking that truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It was, because remember it's a riddle. Yeah, so you enabled the riddle. You unlocked the keys. It was the right thing I needed, the money to be able to survive. So they needed the money to survive. So they was doing it, lust and greed, working alongside people, sexual energies. Certain people needed that money to survive, to serve the community, for a property, to a house. And that was like your family and the responsibilities that was you creating and like the people that you got in that environment. And you're looking at that pleasing those people, and when you're attracting partying and you're not looking about your competence and those skills, because certain people could have said you was competent, they had these skills, they was gambling, thought they had these creative abilities. They didn't have these creative abilities like music, socializing, boom, serving people, partying. They was like kids, and the firstborn they had it with, and they could have had this extra energy, just thinking they was growing. You know, when you go into that 10 of cups, but you didn't realise you wasn't connecting because of certain people like I am, and I create, and what I'm creating, and I'm creating that abundance, and I'm seeking now. No, these people was not creating and seeking, they was using their dominant, causing stress. It was the right thing, yeah. I doubted if the God in me could perform miracles in other people's life. So you doubted if that God in you could perform miracles to be able to transform these divine feminines and masculines. That was you taking that leadership, using your intuitions, higher wisdom. That was you getting organized. That was you grounding yourself, using your intelligence because you were stable, enabling people to have higher clarity, look at it from different perspectives as to why these people do that, because they didn't inherit that sin. They didn't inherit from birth. They was like their fathers and their ancestors, like where they learned and how they grew up. They grew up in conflict. It was unstable communities, houses, holds. People were stressed and arguing, always dominant because of their ego, being courageous, having these extra energies, not looking at the principles of life because it was stuck, or because it was like inherited, ancestral. That's how you play the game. So that's how you play the game, transform on them. They had a lack of doubt. So they had a lack of doubt. You was that shaman. You used listen to the higher force. You got the wisdom because you connected to the book. It went like deep, 16, transformed. Now they're having this tower movement, 222, because they could see this high priestess. They was not steadfast, organized. The mindset towards money, that high priestess. Time to go. They thought it was time for you to go. They didn't want to go. They was probably doing oracle work on you. Prioritizing your life ain't a job. So they seen prioritizing your life on a job. That's when you had to get organized, steadfast, listen to the spirit. They was trying to block you, so they didn't have a moral compass. So they didn't have that spiritual moral compass, that stability, structures, the firm foundations. They want steadfast, they want open-minded, they want flexible the way you was flexible. You spoke the truth. They didn't understand your truth because they was blocked, stopped. They didn't want to transform because of their community. Those communities, the people in their community was dropping those shields, putting those shields, blocking those shields from your light, like you wasn't truth, like you didn't have that higher awareness. Like they could have been going to people's spell work and blocking you because of that arrow. And they doubted that if you had that God in you was to be able to form those miracles. Now they could see that loyal heart. They didn't have care and compassion. They was listening to other people, all because they were stubborn. They can see now that you're a high priestess. You was able to protect yourself. You got this strength. Then you transformed through growth. They can see the shaman. Now they're thinking. They didn't have lack of clarity. They was blocked, spiritually blocked, emotionally blocked, mentally blocked from you, because they could see the people who was around them, high priestess talking, blocking you, spell work because of these illusions and confusions. So you wasn't able to be able to travel, like you didn't have philosophical knowledge, like you didn't have high awareness, like there wasn't steadfast, there wasn't organized, wasn't listening to their spirit. They didn't listen to their self, their own intuitions. You had to listen to yours. Now all of a sudden they're seeing that never-ending story. They're 10, oh my gosh, I put myself on that karmic cycle. Why did I listen to certain family members and friends? Why didn't I listen to my gut feelings and use my intuitions? Now I'm gaining insight that I didn't even have compassion, and that was the high priestess. That was the 10. Now they can see they didn't have that higher clarity. They didn't want to be able to release because they was in that badness, you know, like they didn't have a good moral compass. They was like spiritually blocked, spiritually blind, inherited sin. They didn't listen to their ancestors. They didn't go back. Or because I was in a childlike spirit, told you that quick, fast, fastest. That's because you're on that karmic cycle and you're not looking because your mindset towards money, what was your value in. Frequent dreams, high Q. So they was seeing you had these frequent dreams, you had this high Q, you spoke this truth about the actions. This could have been a feminine, masculine, your auntie, family members, or friends. That's how they grew up, their mindset institutionalized, spiritually blocked, spiritually blind. That's when you're doing things to be able to block people because you're clinging on old assets, emotions, running back to past places, people and things. That's not serving your highest good. It's blocking you, stopping you, divinating, speaking bad throat chakra, so you're not able to speak that truth. I know their job is important. So now they're seeing, I know your job is important. They could have had their job more important, like partying, socializing, DJs, communicating, like still on a social platform just as you are, being creative and a creative skill. Take it all as it resonates, because that's like when you're looking back to your personal pleasures and how you create, and you got these children with like family and friends, and are you gaining that higher awareness, or have you got balances at temperaments that you're providing in that direction? Take it all as it resonates, because that's when you're looking at the things that you gamble in, and it's your artistic flair. And it's like when you have to look at those lovers and those who we share our purpose with in our life. I had to go through things. Advantage was temp. I had to wake up from this dream. So now they're waking up from this dream, because that's that transformation now. That it was temporary, running for that joy, that family life. I had to learn from the media what was not important to us. Cars, clothes, women, money. So they've had to learn from the media. They've got high awareness from social media now, seeking knowledge. If you would have asked me a week ago, I'd have thought you was crazy, a madman. But in 2 minutes, having dinner with that man who broke me. So a week ago, that community, they would have said they thought that person was a madman, they was crazy, like you didn't have that wisdom, or because of their aggression. Now they can see that's that sudden change, it's that karmic cycle, it's destiny. They're having that awakening. They're like, oh my gosh, I can see how you're hard working, because they're connecting back. This is a masculine now, father figure, feminine energy. That's when you have to go back to those roots, and it's that deep inner standing, and you have to see it's that tranquil, and it's self-discovery of who you was acting with, because that's that power of abundance, and that's abundance of growth mindset. That's when you have to have that grace for that reward. You have to looking at your leadership and who you was acting with, promoting with, because that's that hard work, and it brings those rewards. To have that inner standing, to be able to overstand. That's when you're focusing on that inner mind, your mental mind, that capacity, stress, conflict, why negativities, that life changes. That's when you look at that emotional part that's empowered you to change, who was dominating over you, higher clarity of source. Take it all as it resonates, because they see you're a loyal heart. They can see that power resides within inside of you. I miss you now. I will cherish your memories. So now they're cherishing those memories daily, interconnected. They're saying that interconnected with love and sending love always, that loyal heart. So they're interconnected with love, sending love always, having that compassion. They could be thinking about you. They could be seeing how energetic that energy feel. That's that inner peace. You was a part of their inner peace, and now they're gaining higher clarity. They maybe want to be able to come and communicate this to you. When you in a zone, I love it, don't have no time limits. So when you're in a zone, they love it. There's no time limits. You're just creating, you're moving. You got that power. You're resourceful. You're self-reliant. You got passion. Now there was lack of clarity. They externalizing it for business. So they was externalizing it for business. So it was all for business, partnerships, just to create a business. They didn't realize what they was obtaining, those things, what they had in secret. Headed for big things, big revelations, big understanding, big development, big projects. So they can see now you're headed for big things, big development, big projects. You was regenerating, taking that access to move forward. People was clinging on for these big things, because I know her job is important. They didn't really have that clarity. They were saying that home, that fall, that foundation, stability, the way how you communicate, the way how you're loyal, you're protective, you're creative. That's why your job was important. They was going to act like you wasn't that star. Those community people was saying that you was not speaking truth. You was not that star. They're getting that high awareness. They didn't realise about your strength. Now that people really was blocking you and stopping you. The illusions, you're going to hear about these illusions. Certain people have this habit to be able to control you. They could have been lying about you, because when you in that zone, they love it. They don't have no limits, because you're growing, transforming, letting go. 8 of Cups, releasing, walking away. 8 of Wands, you're steadfast, organised. You're making tower moments, putting tower moments in place. Now this Knight of Cups is in their emotions. They could see charming, idealist, and they was detached. Really now they're determined to be able to tackle that. They can see your grace, because they're connecting judgment. All because they was acting in that way, and now they're realising it's revelations because of the choices that they made, all that hard work, who they was harvesting, working with, those family members and friends. Judgment on your ass. Now they're crying over you. You could have returned the money, and you probably would have got a reward. You could have kept You maybe have got a reward. If they returned that money, maybe they would have got a reward, but they was being a fool. They thought they was doing it like they didn't care. They was moving, and that was like when they was being creative. They thought they was using the intuitions, holding on, idealistic, clinging on to resources. They didn't have eye clarity of mind. They didn't want to transform. They didn't want to change. They was idealistic, dominant over resources. 888. That's when you have to look why, where, what, when. 16, they get that tower moment, sudden change, and they start realizing eye clarity, eye awareness, connecting to your emotions. That's why you stress. So if they just return that money, you didn't come to talk about him. I know it. Don't sound good. I know that look. I know. I don't have that inscribed way others to be able to follow. So they came to be able to talk about somebody. Somebody could be coming towards you to be able to talk about a masculine. It could be a feminine, about these results and this growth, about the fire and the passion that they was acting, how they're feeling. They could see that you're just this witch. I keep saying this witch. They can see that, they may see that you're a witch. They can see that you're this appearance of wands. You're speaking strong, balanced, grounded about this pentacles, these 4 of pentacles, about this asset and this foundation. 6 of wands, about people in their community, about success. They seeing you as a part of that success. You're that 10. You're a part of that fulfillment, because when they're connecting to their heart, they can see you as a part of that choice. They can see that passion and strength and willpower that they can see your creative skill, caring, nurturing, providing. Because the people try to block you, like you wasn't that star in reverse. Star in reverse. Because that was your security, 4 of pentacles. Because they was all on that karmic cycle. They was all clinging on, selfish. You know, that underworld where you don't transform, where nobody in that community had compassion. Why? Because they was having extra energy. So none of them communities, they was collaborating for security. They thought they was gaining that success. 5 of wands, striving hard, putting conflict, stress in a childlike spirit for that wheel of fortune. They could have just come and talked to you about that situation. They didn't even want to be able to come and talk to you. Let's step 2 more, and then we'll see why they're crying over you. Because all of a sudden, they see your skills. Now, all of a sudden, these people from your past see your skills. You're caring, nurturing, serving the public. So you could be serving the public, enabling people to be able to grow, get that higher wisdom, look back, logic, analyze, refine, restore oneself, enable people to have that inner standing, balance the mind, show yourself love. That's about your heart, your security, emotions. That's you using your intuitions, because the way how you're feeling, and they're thinking now the way how they're feeling, because they're knowing now the way how they was acting. So in that Mercury, they may want to be able to travel towards your home now, because love, to collaborate alongside you. They're striving. 5. They may be coming in quick and fast. They're taking that leadership now. This could be a fire sign. Gemini, Cancer, Virgo. Passed out in the middle of the road. So these people, somebody from your past, could have passed out in the middle of the road. I'm going to get better. Just say you will stay. I saw the suitcase. Thought you was leaving. So they're going to get better. They could have said just stay. I saw your suitcase. I thought you was leaving. They was collaborating with people. He had no communication skills. So that person had no communication skills. So they're saying now, you just got off. I talked about moon, stars, why we here. God's plan for us was amazing. So they're going to talk to you about the moon and the stars, why they're here, what God's plan is for us. They're feeling it was amazing. They could talk to a friend, somebody from their past, letting them know, collaborating as to why. That strive to gain that evolving and change for that power. Didn't live too far from where I started. So they don't live too far from where they started back from that past. Now they're looking about what they was trying to secure, the people who they was creating with, and now they're having stress and conflict, and that was just back. So they put themselves back on that same cycle. Now all of a sudden they're crying over you, because they're seeing now they passed out in the middle of the road, looking you up, cyber stalking, studying you, getting information on you, because he had no communication skills, and he was there, no love, no joy, because there was a happiness, hater, dropped on the floor. There was a happiness 8-er, collaborating because they see your shine. So they're looking you up now because they're seeing your shine. They're seeing your growing. Ooh. Let's have these two. They're talking and shit about you, gossiping about you, the way you're moving. And they caught a case, a stressful case, psychological case, sexual dis-ease, spiritual dis-ease, because they're always partying and the dirt digging. They thought they was too busy winning. And then you see they're seeing that you're joyful, connected, divinely guided. They was a thief with their fake smiles, obsessed lovers. Because you can see they was in that child services. So they got to go child services. Say they was holding them up for a child. Got to go wisdom, getting wisdom about this child now. So they could be obsessing now and dominating over resources. Got to seek knowledge because certain people are taking them to court because the child. Seeking wisdom in regards to that. They're having this Wheel of Fortune. Let's just take 1, 2 out of there and we're done. It says Sanskrit, Niti, leading, bringing guidance, conduct, behavior, policies, political science and ethics. So they're leading behind politics, ethics, political science, the way you conduct yourself, your behavior, policies, procedures, political, speaking, science, ethics to move and grow. And it's Chronicles 1:5. So now their attitude, their approach towards life, being brave, protecting, looking at the choices, 12 karmic cycles, increased risk of health problems. So now they've got increased risk of health problems because they caught a case. And that's looking at adulthood, heart disease, plus C, mental health issues, and that's harmful behaviours, something that's drugs and drinks, that's abuse, and that's being happy, supporting those who experience that ACE, and that's helping them to be able to get out, because that's the effects of self-care. That's gaining eye clarity, look at yourself, because you detach from emotions, get steadfast, because that's building a sense of safety, spiritual community, control over those thoughts and those feelings, those actions and reactions, looking at the decisions, because that's looking at that acceptance, the devotion, that's deflection. And when you're talking shit about you shining because they're catching a case, that's why they're looking you up. It's production, it's purification, procrastination, hostile people, looking at that continuousness of people who are argumentative, prone to controlling, and that's engaging with disputes or even looking at disagreements, and they likely are cause arguments, and it's displaying they have like a karmic around them, karmic tendency, quarreling, involving and willing, and that's engaging in disputes, and it's timesome and it's preserving and it's wary of other situations. You have to look at certain decisions made, and it's likely to lead to arguments, and it's controlling those thoughts of those divine feminines, masculines, family members, and those people that's around them in the community. Take it all as it resonates. With the rest, for the best, don't stress.